Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Donovan, and today we're going to take a look at the Honor Watch Magic. This is going to be a first impressions video because I've been using the watch now for 2 full days, and I'm going to just share some of my experience with it so far. So, full review to come in the future on this video or on this watch. But one quick thing I want to mention before we even get into talking about this watch is the fact that this is basically the Huawei Watch GT mini version, because that is basically the exact same watch that you see here, only this is a smaller form factor. So the Honor Watch Magic is basically the Honor Watch GT mini. Now, quick shout out to the folks over at Banggood.com. They are the ones that sent this out to me for review, and you can see here that they have it available in two different colors. So this is the black and brown version. You can see it has a silver bezel. It's available for $150 regardless of which version you get. But the version I have, of course, is I guess the more sporty version, because this one here actually has leather and silicone. So the inside of that band is silicone, but the outside is leather. So probably the more classy version of the two watches. But either way, the bands are actually removable. So you can see they have quick release bands there. And so you can easily swap these out for other bands if you want. So before we get into this video, I do want to mention that I'm also going to be comparing it up to some of the other watches I have here, and I have a ton of them, but we'll do some comparisons. And then also let me just show you real quick what you get in the bag. So this is actually a Type-C charger, so that's really cool. And this is the charging brick that you're going to use, I guess. So it just magnetizes up to the watch, and then of course you plug in your Type-C right there, and you charge up the watch, and you're going to get quite a they say up to 7 days of battery life. So far I've been using it for 2 full days. I've been using it very heavily, so I've used it for 2 different runs, and you can see I'm at 57%. So with regular usage, especially if you're using the GPS for running, I've had it connected up to this phone right here. This is my Google Pixel 3 XL, and been getting notifications from it, and I'm at 57%. So battery life so far seems like I'm probably going to get about 4 days of battery life with regular usage. I'm going to say approximately, but we'll see. Obviously, this isn't the full review. This is just kind of a first impressions video. But one thing that's important to note here is that you can see that the instructions here are all in, I believe, Mandarin. Now, I don't know for sure because obviously I can't read this, but you could, of course, use, your Google Translator if you want, but it's super easy to use. Honestly, you don't even need these because it's really simple to use. Basically, what you want to do is you're going to download an app called, where is it at? Whoa, jumping into things. Here, let's try that again. All right, so we're going to go in here, and where is it at? Where is it at? It's called Watch, Huawei Watch. So if we can find it here. There it is. Huawei Health actually is the one you want. So it's called Huawei Health. And then once you have it here, you're going to connect it up using this, and then everything's going to be in English from there. So as soon as you connect it up using the app, basically it's all going to be in English. You don't have to worry about any kind of Chinese or anything like that. And then the watch is super simple to use. And we're going to run through the software here in just a little bit. But first I want to go ahead and show you around the watch. So first of all, silicone bands. Of course, if you get that brown one, you're going to get silicone and leather on it rather than just silicone like you see here. So this is, I guess, the more sporty version. We have 2 actual physical buttons here, but then it is also touch sensitive, as you can see. On the back, we have a heart rate sensor. So, of course, I would say that this watch is very specifically designed for runners in mind, because it definitely, or not just runners, but any kind of athlete, because of the features that it has. And we'll look at those in just a little bit. But you can see we kind of have those numbers there, and then it says tachymeter over there as well. We do, again, have those quick release bands, so you can easily swap them out for other bands, and they are 22 millimeter. This watch is also 5 atmospheres water resistant, or waterproof, I guess. So basically you can go way underwater and still be just fine. So I've wore it in the shower twice already. Obviously no issues there because you can actually literally go underwater with this. So obviously just taking a shower with it isn't going to be a problem. Now, the reason I have these other watches over here is because I just wanted to compare it up. So this is a watch that originally cost twice as much as this one. This is the Garmin Vivoactive 3 Music, and I would actually compare this more to the Garmin Vivoactive 3 without the music. So this is very similar in design. So basically, if you like the Garmin Vivoactive 3, but you want kind of a cheaper option, this one might be a great option for you. One major difference here being the fact that you can see this one kind of has that, like, this is like a I'm not really sure what this design is called, whatever the Garmin uses for their screens, because it also is the same screen you get on the more expensive Phoenix 5 version. So this is a Phoenix 5 Plus, and they have the same screen. So whatever that technology is, it makes it so you can easily see it in the sun, whereas this is using a 1.2-inch AMOLED display. So if you get the Huawei Watch GT, you get a larger battery. Obviously, it's a little bit bigger physically, but then also you get a 1.4-inch display or 1.39-inch display, basically. So very similar in design, I think, to the Garmin Vivo Active 3 Music, except this one just has one physical button, whereas this one has two. But in terms of the actual size, they're both very light, very simple to wear, very easy to wear on your wrist, whereas something like the Garmin Phoenix 5 Plus, this one is obviously much thicker, much heavier. This one's all physical buttons. There are no touch screens here, so this one's definitely designed for more rugged purposes, whereas this one I think is kind of a little bit more basic when it comes to fitness. But you do get a lot of fitness features, which we'll take a look at. And then another watch that I want to compare it up to, this is the Amaze Fit Stratos. So similar pricing. This one's $150. This one's like $180 right now. Originally it started out at $200. Now this one also has, and it's actually dead right now, I believe. Haven't used it in a few days because I've been testing out other watches. But this one has a lot of the same features you get here, but this one also has music storage. So 4 gigs of music storage, whereas you get nothing on here or the Huawei Watch GT. So kind of an interesting omission, I think, from Huawei and Honor to not have that feature, because I think a lot of runners like that, especially myself included there. So no music or any kind of storage there for music on this watch. So a little bit unfortunate, and that's why I say it's more like the Garmin Vivo Active 3, because that one doesn't have music, whereas the Vivo Active 3 Music, like you see here, does actually have the music capability. But this again started at $300, it's now $250, so an extra $100 gets you some music, and obviously you get the Garmin information there instead of the Huawei app that you're going to be using with this watch. So let's just go ahead and run through the watch real quick. So you can see this is the main watch face. Now there's a bunch of them here, so if you hold that down you can scroll through and you can see that they're all basically more kind of designed with I guess active lifestyles. So we have the traditional sport. We'll go ahead and take a look at that one. So this one's going to show you, let's see if we can get that into focus. There we go, our steps and then also our calories burned, I guess, for the day. Not really sure why it says 49, because obviously when you go into the other ones, it's going to have some other information there instead. So this one's called dark blue. Not really sure what that one's showing there. 3 needles, so kind of a more traditional watch face. Again, same thing here, but it also shows you some other information as well. So it looks like we have our heart rate, which of course there is not going to work right now, times that you've sat up, and then also steps there. And I don't know that you can actually adjust what it shows on that because there is nothing showing that you can. We'll slide over. This is exercise ring, so that would be similar to what you get on like a Apple Watch or even the old Huawei Watch 2, which was actually an Android Wear watch, whereas this one has its own operating system here. So interesting that they chose to get rid of Android Wear. Maybe they'll come out with another watch with it, but this one does not have that, of course. So this one's called Outdoors. So this one actually has our barometer and altimeter here, so it's going to show you your height, I guess, and then also your barometric pressure. So we have one that's just going to track your heart rate throughout the day, which is kind of cool. But then there's also another actually screen for that, and then we also have a weather one. So I obviously like the one called Explorer. So we have our temperature, our calories burned, our steps, our heart rate, and then of course time and date here. So if I slide over to the left, this is going to get us into those rings that you saw on that other watch face. We have Alipay, so technically this does have NFC, but of course this is really only going to be useful, at least as of right now, in China, because Alipay really is only used in China as far as I know. So that's their version of NFC. You can also use it for like a bus pass as well, I guess. This is of course our temperature. Now I haven't figured out a way to change this off of Celsius, So that's a little bit unfortunate. Then this one, this is kind of strange. This is called stress, and other watches have it. So like for instance, Garmin has it on their watches. I do believe that actually the Amaze Fit Stratos has a version of stress as well, where it just measures just the amount of stress you've gone through the day based off of your heart rate, I believe, and the times you gotten up and down and things like that. But this so far has not shown anything over the 2 days, so I haven't really figured out how to make that work. Tracking your heart rate throughout the day, and that's about it. If I touch the top button up here, that's going to take us into all of our different apps, we'll call them. So if I go into exercise, we'll start there. You can see the different types of exercises that we have available. So running courses, and we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Outdoor run, outdoor walk, climbing, outdoor cycle, indoor cycle, pool swim. So of course, yes, you can do pool swimming and it'll track your laps here. And did I actually hit that? Nope. Okay. All right. And then we have other. So this one, I guess, is this just if you're doing any other kind of activity. So it's not going to track any of them in particular. Basically, it's just going to go off your heart rate and measure the calories you burn based off of your heart rate. And I will say the heart rate sensor works very well on this. So if you're looking for something with good heart rate monitoring, this is very good. So there's our heart rate. So that's just basically just going to show you your heart rate, but it's already on the main watch face, so I'm not sure why you really need that. This is just going to show you that same screen where you actually go into your activities. This is our sleep, so we can go ahead and go into that. You can see it does, of course, track your sleep, so 8 hours and 22 minutes, and that actually tracked a nap as well that I took, so that was kind of cool. We have stress again, and again, it's not going to show anything. We have some breathing exercises, our barometer, a compass, weather, and when you go into the weather, interesting enough, you can see again, there's no options to change it. It's just stuck in Celsius, and when you go to the app, that's not an option either. We have notifications, and we'll take a look at that again in a little bit. Bus card, Alipay. We have our stopwatch, a timer, alarm clock, flashlight, find your phone, and then our settings. So settings are very basic. We have display, do not disturb, and system, and then about. So really not a whole lot here to look at. I don't want to do that. I'm not sure, I must have accidentally hit that. Then we go into display. You can see we can change the watch face there, and we can change the brightness. Now again, this is an AMOLED display. I have it set to auto, so basically it'll just automatically dim based off of the outside sunlight coming in. And it does get plenty bright, so you can wear it during the brightest of sunlight. We have do not disturb. Obviously you know what that does. We have system, so you can see just restart, power off, and restart there. And then we have the about screen, and that's basically just going to tell us about the watch. So that's about it on that one as far as settings go. So that's with the top button. If I hit the bottom button, it's just going to take us into our workouts again. So that's what that bottom button does. And if I swipe from the bottom, you can see our notifications, and then from the top, it's going to take us into our quick settings. So we have show time. That's going to give us 5 minutes of screen time. Basically, it's going to keep the screen on for 5 minutes. We can go back into our settings. We can lock the watch, so you want to use that when you're swimming so that it doesn't like constantly register touches with the water. We have do not disturb again, and then find my phone. So we'll go ahead and hit that and see if it gives a actual... Let's see. There it goes. Yep. Right oh no, I don't know how to turn it off. Okay, there we go. All right, so yeah, you could hear that. Obviously, that worked quite well. But again, you need to be within range, of course, of your phone. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the app. Like I mentioned earlier. So a couple things to mention here so we can set our goals. I'm not actually in the main one, but we can set a step goal, a weight goal. We'll go out of that. We have our profile. It's just going to tell us our information that we need in order to track the calories because it's going off of your weight and height and things like that for calories. Messages, I'm not really sure what that is. We have data sharing. This is going to allow us to share it with certain apps like Google Fit, MyFitnessPal. Notice Strava is not on there. So this is a watch designed for athletes. So Strava, not there. That was unfortunate to find out that Strava wasn't there. So I'll figure out a way to get that to Strava, hopefully. So we have notification management. That's where we're going to decide whether we want certain things notified. And then also I'll show you how to get notifications from all your other apps here in just a little bit. So we can change it from imperial to metric here. And then you can see some other things there that we don't really need to go into. And that's about it for that one. Now we're going to go down here to the bottom. You can see our home screen. So this is where it's going to take us into just our main activities. So what I showed you earlier was up here. And we'll take a look at that in just a moment. So that's where you're going to get into the watch details in just a moment. But this is just our activities. So same thing that was showing on the watch. This is an exercise. So this is, I did a 7-mile run a little bit earlier today. So just to show you what kind of information it's going to show you. So obviously your map. We have a pace chart here. So basically it's just going to show you each of your different miles. We have our charts here for heart rate, our pace over time. So it kind of jumps up there. And that's one thing I will say, and this is kind of a bit of a complaint about the watch. My pace really did not vary that much at all in this run, other than just getting slightly faster. So if I go back to like my main pace, you can see that, you know, I was doing basically a drop down where I was getting, you know, slightly faster in each mile. But when you look at the chart for the pace, notice that there's some big jumps up and down. And this was true with the Huawei Watch 2. The immediate pace information is not very useful. It really kind of jumps up and down. Like at one point it was telling me I was running at 10 minutes per mile, even though I was probably really running at like, you know, a 650 pace per mile. So the immediate pace information is not very useful, to be completely honest. The overall pace was dead on, and the GPS is dead on, so I'm not really sure why the immediate pace is off, but that's just a little bit unfortunate. So we have our cadence and then altitude here as well, and then we can go into some more details, and so it's just going to give us a little bit more broad details. And you can see here it does have some performance information like our VO2 max, our aerobic training effect, which a lot of people really like with certain like the Garmin watches do that. Also the Amaze Fit Stratos will give you that same information as well. So in terms of the GPS and the heart rate, dead on with both of those. It was pretty much spot on with my Garmin, and I was running basically a 7-mile course that I do very regularly, and it was spot on both of these tracks. These are courses that I do all the time, and it was dead on both of them. So heart rate also dead on. So I was actually wearing my Apple Watch Series 4 at the exact same time, which also has very good heart rate monitoring, and it was also perfect with that as well. So a couple other things to mention here. So we'll get out of that workout and come up to our watch information. So this is just going to show it's connected, our battery life. Again, same information we saw a little bit earlier. This is our true sleep. So this is just going to track your sleep. You can either turn it on or off. We have activity reminders. That's basically a sedentary reminder. Continuous heart rate monitoring, so if you want it to monitor your heart rate throughout the day, you're going to want to turn that on, and it literally does it all day. So unlike the Apple Watch, knocking stuff over. So the Apple Watch will only show you your heart rate like at about every 5 to 10 minutes, whereas this is going to show it to you all day, so that's there as well. We can set up alarms. This is where you're going to set up your notifications, so you can pick which apps actually give you notifications. So you can see I just chose a few of them, but basically every single app you have on your phone is there available. You can turn them on or off. So this is our weather reports, and I have it turned on, but again, there's no option for turning it to Celsius or Fahrenheit. It's basically you're just stuck with Celsius, so it's a little unfortunate. And then we have a couple other features here like wrist to wake screen, auto download, update packages over Wi-Fi, and that's about it. So that is a very detailed look at the Honor Watch Magic. So if you are someone who is, you know, a runner, maybe a triathlete, a swimmer, a biker, and you want a good watch that basically is good for heart rate monitoring and GPS, I would say, and also of course notifications. Now I didn't show you any notifications, so this is an email. Somebody was asking about a review I did before called Let's Fit True Wireless Earbuds, but you can see basically it just shows me the title or the subject of the email. It doesn't show me anything else. So that's a little bit limited. So this is another one. This is a Facebook Messenger, and you can see that somebody was asking me like when we can talk about a review that I'm going to do on another product, but that's about it. And then I go all the way down and get to clear all here at the bottom as well. So that's pretty much it. That's all you get with the notifications. A little bit limited here, so I would say this is definitely a watch designed for athletes. If you want a more I guess, involved watch. Obviously, you can get the Amaze Fit Stratos is very similar, except it has music. Same thing with the Garmin Vivo Active 3 Music. But obviously, if you want more of a smartwatch, like you'd want to get something like this with Android Wear, or of course the Apple Watch if you're an Apple user as well. But this is really just a activity tracker. So for $150 though, I really like the design, the GPS and the heart rate are dead on. And by the way, this does use GPS, GLONASS, and Baidu. So it's using three different GPS tracking options. So it is, like I said, dead on. No issues there whatsoever. So that was a very long explanation of the Honor Watch Magic. I hope this video has been helpful for you. A more full review where I actually give you full battery life usage and things like that over time will be coming up in the near future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.